So awakening isn't a process. Not ultimately. Here's why. A process is something that happens in time. A process, as defined in the dictionary, is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. But that process happens in this timelessness. Isn't this awareness pure immediacy? Where do you have to go to get to already this? How could a process lead to already this? How much time does it take for you to be aware that you're aware? It's that dream of something needing to happen in time that's woken up from. It's the dream of thinking that there's a series of steps to get to the goal of awakening at the end that's woken up from. But you might say, Alex, people go to spiritual teachers or non-duality speakers and then some of those people wake up, right? There must be a process because look, someone arrives in the presence of a teacher or a speaker, then something happens, some words are exchanged or they do some kind of practice, and then some kind of light bulb moment happens where they realize something and they wake up. That's a process. Well, yes, relatively, but that's not the full picture. Here's an analogy, and I have to give Rupert Spira credit for this analogy, but I'll change the name of the characters that he usually uses. Okay, so imagine that there's an actor called John, and he's playing a character called Neo, and he's deeply, deeply immersed in playing the role. And in a break from filming, he goes back to the dressing room where he meets his friend. And he immediately starts talking to his friend as if he's Neo. He starts talking about all the nightmares Neo is having and all of his hopes and dreams. And his friend is like, wait, what? Hang on a minute. This isn't you. You've forgotten who you are. Wake up and remember who you really are. And at some point, he comes round and he wakes up from his delusion. Now, what process did Neo go through to wake up? Well, hang on a minute. Neo didn't go through a process to awaken because he was an imaginary character. He was the imagination of John. The process of Neo waking up while talking to a friend is just what John waking up looked like. But when John wakes up, he sees clearly that process was the illusion, and he already is him. And there can be no process to be what he already is. He simply saw through the illusion. Awakening doesn't happen to the person you think you are, the person in the mind who has to do something to get to an end result in the future to arrive at awakening. It's more like awakeness awakens to itself, which is revealed to be already this, already completely immediate. Awakening doesn't happen to Neo, it's simply John remembering who he truly is, already timeless. Now, I'm not denying that processes related to awakening happen on the relative level. People go to teachers and speakers and then things happen, but it's more like an energetic exchange where someone who is with their true nature by some kind of osmosis, it can leak out into others rather than you get this prescriptive process, action steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and then boom, awakening. This can quickly put the person on more seeking and more delaying. But yes, sometimes words are exchanged or something that looks like a practice or a process gets talked about, like self-inquiry or being aware of being aware. And this is all legitimate. There is something for the person to do, and that's to investigate the nature of who one truly is as this awareness, this pure isness, pure consciousness. There is a relative process that the person appears to go through, but the real awakening is beyond the person, it's beyond who you think you are in time. The process is seen to just be what the revelation of there being no process to get to this looks like in the dream of time. Awakening is instant. The implications of awakening happen in time. John wakes up to the fact that he's not Neo instantly, and John is timeless, but he can choose to play Neo in time. This time, he doesn't forget that he's John. This time, he can play Neo knowing that he's John. So he still deals with all of Neo's problems as Neo, but this time is from a different perspective. This time he plays Neo while knowing himself as more than Neo, and he knows that this is his dream. So how would he play that role, knowing that all of Neo's problems are not really his? How much more unattached and freer would he feel? Reducing anxiety and extinguishing fear is a process. Releasing tension, density, pain and trauma in the body is a process. Processing emotions is a process. Building a conscious business that positively transforms the world is a process. And these may all be implications of awakening that happen in time over the course of days, weeks, months, or even decades. Humans fully embodying and living the non-dual understanding in the world is something that will unfold over the course of lifetimes. But the awakening is always right now, because it's always right now. I hope this video helped. If you want to inquire about working with coaching with me, go to speaktoalex.com. Peace.